Hello everyone, and welcome to the Holson Homestead channel. This is our very first video in our journey of making our new house a home. We are Haley and Josh, and we recently moved out to the country in East Texas. We bought 10 acres a few months ago, and we're in the process of making it our own little piece of paradise. We have a lot of projects in mind, so we hope you follow along and enjoy our videos. First up is our above ground pool build. Texas summers are no joke, so this was our top priority. So let's get started. We decided to go with the Intex pool from Amazon in the size 18 by 9, and we decided to do the sand filter. All right, we have the pool tarp laid out where we're gonna place the pool, and we decided that we're not gonna dig it out ourselves with shovels. We're gonna use the old trusty tractor. So we have to undo this fence panel, and then we'll zip tie it back up because eventually we're gonna replace this whole fence anyway. Since we have a tractor, we decided to put it to good use and start with that before trying to hand dig anything because we thought this would be a lot faster. So here we are just using the bucket and trying to figure it all out. And once we dug down an inch or so, we saw that there were some pipes there. So we stopped for a little bit and had to kind of redo our plan. But we decided to keep on digging with the tractor and just use the top of the pipes as our lowest area when we're making this level. So instead of digging down a few inches, we decided to just stop there and then build it up on the other side to make it level. We've really only used the brush hog on the tractor to mow the field in the back, so this was kind of a bit of a learning curve for us to dig with the bucket. But after a couple hours, Josh definitely got the hang of it and it went pretty fast. So here is Josh trying to figure it out at first. After the tractor, we did go in and manually shovel some of the dirt just to make sure that it got as level as possible. We used a flat shovel here instead of the pointed one, just because we thought it would help us do this a lot easier. And really the hardest part was getting the clumps of grass and the roots out. That was really the hardest part for us to dig. Every so often we would use the 4-foot level that we bought at Lowe's to make sure that as we were digging it down, we were keeping it as level as possible. And the 4-foot level was really the best tool for us to do this. We measured it as many ways as possible, vertical, horizontal, and diagonally, just to make sure that all points were level across this foundation. Here's Josh admiring his handiwork so far in his dad pose. We used as many tools as possible just because this was our first time doing this. We didn't know which would be easiest. So here Josh is trying out the box blade attachment for the tractor, which we thought was going to work really well, but it ended up not being that easy to use. So we figured that out pretty quickly. We also used a metal rake to help spread out the loose dirt and make it as even as possible. Getting this foundation even was really the hardest part of the whole project and took the most time, just because it was just really hard for us to get it all even. We used a tamper to pack it all in as well after each spreading of the dirt. And then after that, we went to Lowe's and bought some paver sand and also some landscape edging because we did dig down 2 or 3 inches on that one side. We just didn't want the dirt to wash away whenever it rained, so we thought some landscape edging would help hold it back. After we got the landscape edging in, it was time for us to pour the sand. Here we're using step 2 on the paver sand just because it was a lot thinner and more fine than the step 1. So we originally bought 20 bags because we knew that we didn't really need to build it up that high, but this is gonna help really even out our foundation so it's not lumpy in any places. So we use the metal rake again to spread it all out. And in some places it was only 1/4 inch thick, and then other places it was more of an inch, inch and a half thick. Once we spread it out pretty good, we let it sit overnight because in the mornings here it gets pretty dewy, and we heard that if the sand gets a little wet, it packs in better and makes it more hard. So here we are the next day, spreading it around again. We tampered it, and then we also used a 2x4 to help really get it as level as possible. We would spread it out with the rake, we would level with the 2x4, tamper it in, and repeat this process as many times as we could stand. And then after we started to lose our sanity, we decided it was time to move on to the next step, which was to lay down the styrofoam board sheets that we got at Lowe's. When you're in an above ground pool and you're standing, I really don't like the feeling of feeling the lumpy sand underneath, so I thought that this would be a good way to prevent that and just make it a smooth bottom on the bottom of our pool. So we laid those down and we used the Gorilla Tape to tape them together so they don't move. The last piece needed to just be 2 feet wide, so here we are just using a box cutter to cut it down to size, and it just cut super easily. We taped the styrofoam sheets both ways just to make sure that they didn't move at all, and then we used the 12x12 pavers that we bought at Lowe's to map out where the pool legs are going to go. So those are going to sit on top of these, so if there's any settling that happens to the pool, it doesn't sink down into the sand, and this will help to keep it as level as possible, which is really the ultimate goal of this whole video. So once we did that, we took our tarp and laid it across everything again just to double check to make sure we got all of the measurements correct. And it was kind of a battle, as you can see, but we got there. So we're just checking the size and it looked pretty good. So we were right on track. We then got out the pool liner and we made sure to lay it out so the holes for the filter are on the house side. Eventually we're gonna build a deck and cover that up. So we really wanted to make sure that we set this pool up correctly how we need it to be in the future. So after we did that, we locked all of the rails and pool legs together, which was really a simple and fast process. I didn't show it all, but you get the idea. After we hooked all the rails and legs together, it was time to put them through the sleeves. We figured out pretty quickly that we needed to put them in so that the holes in the rails matched up with the holes in the sleeves. This definitely took 2 people for us. I don't think we could have done it as a 1-person task. So I definitely recommend having 2 people for that because it was kind of hard to push them through those sleeves. It got pretty tight. And then after that, we hooked the legs through the tabs and hooked them in, which was pretty easy. So here's what it looks like when it's all set up without any water. It's a little wrinkly, but it's going to really push out and look a lot better once it fills up with water. Now for the fun part, we are finally ready to start filling it up with water. We zip tied this hose here because it did take a couple hours, but we were ready. So after the water level got right up to the holes for the filter, we started putting that together as well. Our pool rails really bowed in a lot, as you can see in this video, and the water is almost full, so we got a little nervous, but everything we read online said just to wait and it'll eventually pop back out and be straight again. So that's what we're doing. We're just crossing our fingers. And I did find these baskets on Amazon for a pretty good price, and they're super easy to put together, and they just lay right on top of those rails. Perfect for beer or drinks or to hold your towel. And then I also found this fountain on Amazon as well to help keep the water circulating. And as you can see, when the pool filled up to the top, the outside rails straightened up. They just eventually popped out. And so we are ready to use our pool. Our final cost for this project was $1,569.52. Thank you guys so much for following along, and we hope to see you on the next video.